Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I'm Darshan Usman. The top stories this hour. President Bola Tinubu departs Abuja for Dar es Salaam, Tanzania to participate in the Africa Heads of State Energy Summit 2025. Nigerian Army cracks down on oil thieves in Niger Delta. Fighting near DR Congo's Goma region intensifies amid diplomatic fallout. Details of these stories and more shortly. We begin at this hour by telling you that President Bola Tinubu on Sunday departs Abuja for Dar es Salaam, Tanzania to attend the 2025 Africa Heads of State Energy Summit. The summit, hosted by Tanzania in collaboration with the African Development Bank and World Bank, focuses on Mission 300, a plan to provide electricity to 300 million Africans by 2030. On the first day, Nigeria and other nations will present energy strategies aimed at achieving universal energy access. Now, President Tinubu will deliver a national statement reaffirming Nigeria's commitment to clean energy and its leadership in Africa's energy sector. The event concludes with leaders endorsing the Dar es Salaam Energy Declaration, mapping Africa's path towards energy inclusion. President Bola Tinubu has welcomed the intervention of the Finnish government with the arrest and detention of the self-proclaimed leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Simon Ekpa. Tinubu said the government would not tolerate actions and statements that could lead to divisiveness among citizens. The president spoke when he received the letter of credence from the Finnish ambassador to Nigeria, Sena Selin, at the State House. He commended the Finnish authorities for the timely intervention that safeguarded the nation's integrity and mitigated an action that threatened peaceful coexistence. Now to politics. Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed has urged FCT Minister Nyesom Wike to resign from the PDP over alleged anti-party activities and align officially with the APC. Mohammed accused Wike of serving APC's interests and attempting to tarnish his reputation. He labeled Wike a transactional politician whose loyalty shifts for personal ambition. In response, Wike's media aide, Lere Olayinka, dismissed the claims, accusing Mohammed of lacking leadership as PDP Governors Forum chairman. Mohammed, through his media advisor, described Wike's attacks as reckless and divisive, alleging a history of betrayal within the PDP. The Bauchi governor called for unity within the party, urging genuine members to work towards defeating the APC in 2027. Now let's turn our attention to the Lagos State House of Assembly, where embattled lawmaker Mudashiru Obasa says he remains the Speaker of the Lagos House of Assembly until the right thing is done. Members of the Assembly on January 13 impeached Obasa over alleged gross misconduct and abuse of office. His removal also came a few weeks after he was accused of spending 17 billion naira on a gate to the Assembly complex. Obasa, who was away during the impeachment saga, was welcomed back home by his loyalists at his Joel Ogunaike GRA residence in Ikeja on Saturday. The former speaker also debunked the allegations of corruption brought against him by the lawmakers during his removal, describing the alleged financial misappropriations as impossible.
But to remove, you must follow the due process, as I have said. We have rules, we have constitution. When you want to remove, you must do what? Follow it. And at the same time, that man that said Obasa took part in the removal of Honorable Abdulwahid Pelumi, Honorable Fumi Tejosho, and those people that were suspended. And I've said it, let me repeat it. Honorable Pelumi, right? Honorable Pelumi is my brother, is my friend. I fondly call him Boda Wahidi till tomorrow. When he was removed, he was on the floor of the house. Probably he was presiding. When Teddy was removed, she was in the house. And those who were suspended, they were around. And there was no involvement of police. And the house, the chamber was not broken into. And fake mace was not brought to the house. I'm not afraid of being removed.
In the meantime, the Lagos State House of Assembly has fired back at former Speaker Mudashiru Obasa, who insists he's still in charge. The Assembly says over 2/3 of its members support new Speaker Mojisola Meranda, and nothing can change the decision made on January 13 when Obasa was impeached. Now, according to Ogundikpe Olukayode, the Assembly spokesperson, the lawmakers are united in their commitment to good governance and harmony with other government branches. He called Obasa's claims uncalled for and unparliamentary. The Assembly maintains that Obasa was duly elected as Speaker, but later removed by a majority decision. They're urging him to accept the transition peacefully. We stay with politics, where stakeholders from the Justice Forum in Alimosho Federal Constituency of Lagos State gathered to demonstrate their political strength and readiness for the upcoming local government and 2027 general elections. Now, under the leadership of the former Deputy Governor Adejoke Orelokpe Adefolire, the event highlighted the party's grassroots mobilization efforts and commitment to unity. Speaking during the event, Chief Organizer and State Officer for Justice Forum, Honorable Akim Bashiru, and other leaders say the gathering was to showcase the strength as a leading APC group in Alimosho.
This event for us is a constituency meeting to showcase our strength as a leading APC group in Alimosho. It is also an opportunity for us to mobilize people and assure our Progressive Congress and by extension Mr. President that Alimosho is ready to take the leadership in terms of galvanizing votes for subsequent electoral victories as far as Alimosho is concerned.
When we are talking about caucus is a means to drive more members into the party. The party is supreme, but as we are celebrating our day today and having our meeting, we are pulling more members, new members into the party.
Because we are a popular party, well run and well provided for by our leader in Alimosho, the leader of the federal constituency, Princess Adejoke Orelokpe Adefolure. She's a million in a woman, and amazing. And her leadership has gotten the Alimosho to where it is today.
And now to security matters. Hard-to-reach communities affected by terrorism in Sokoto and Zamfara states have expressed worry over the restrictions placed on the use of firearms to combat terrorists and bandits as first responders whenever they're attacked. They say this has left them as sitting ducks without any protection from the terrorists, leaving their loved ones in harm's way. Now, in this special report, News Central correspondent Emmanuel Bagudu visited some of the communities and tells us more.
Accessing terrorist-affected communities in either Sokoto, Zamfara or Katsina State, even by security agencies, is a Herculean task. News Central's crew had a feel of this reality as it sought to get answers from those affected by the insurgencies firsthand. The visit took us to Sabon and Isa in Sokoto East, Silame, Wamako and Tangaza local government area in Sokoto North, and Maradan, Maru and Zurmi local government areas of Zamfara State. One citizen who has been affected by the insurgency is Umaru Dogo. Dogo, who has lost his entire family to a mistargeted airstrike at Gidansama village in Sokoto State, expressed his displeasure at the military for labeling him a member of the Lakurawa terrorist group.
I am just a farmer. I am suffering looking for what to eat when this Air Force jet bombed this place. My entire family lost their lives. My neighbors then came to help me pick the bodies to bury. Then ground troops came to open fire on us, injuring 3 people. After that, they invited me to come and explain myself. I did, and they threatened to throw me inside the fire from the bomb.
We also sought to get reactions from the Nigerian military over the unfortunate event, which left many dead as Air Force fighter jets sought to neutralize Lakurawa bandits.
Even when we clear an area, we have to pull out to other areas. So the state infrastructure needs the institution. They need to improve. They need to be on ground. The local government chairman need to stay there. You cannot be local government chairman of Tangaza and then you'll be operating from Sokoto. No.
The issue of road deficit is addressed, and once that is done, I'm sure it's going to help in improving the security situation within the Northwest region.
The visit also took us to Gongono in Tangaza local government area of Sokoto State. Stakeholders here at the community expressed their views on the war against terrorism.
So when they come, they say they want to save our people. You know, a local man, when you say you will save him because of these terrorists, they will accept you. But later, they understand that they are all the same because they will put their animals inside your farm. So they are all the same to you. That is why they accepted them before. But later, they ran away from them.
There are a lot of sympathizers and also informants. Before we go out of any operation, these sympathizers and informants usually call and inform the terrorists about our patrols and whereabouts. And also the locals usually allow the terrorists to come and marry some of their women in the place, whereby they have a relationship, since this village and Niger are close.
Even neighboring Zamfara State has had its own share of terrorist activities. While the government is implementing a homegrown solution, its local vigilante groups believe that with more support from the military, much can be achieved.
Everyone here, both young and old, has a gun. Once these bandits invade us, everyone swings into action. And if it is your time to die, you know you have tried your best. Is that not how it should be?
The state government is, however, in the forefront of those pushing for citizens to be armed as part of efforts to combat terrorist groups. While the northwest region of the country continues to suffer the effects of terrorism, many here say there is much expectation from government to help end the menace. In Gusau, Zamfara State, for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
We take a break now. When we come back, we'll tell you how NDLEA intercepts cannabis shipment, arrests suspects as it continues its fight against drug abuse. Details shortly. Welcome back. In a celebration of culture, unity, and tradition, the Chinese community in Lagos came together with Nigerians to mark the Chinese New Year, also known as the Spring Festival. Now, the event not only highlighted the shared cultural heritage of both nations, but also reinforced the deep ties between Nigeria and China. Let's take a look.
The celebration of the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China offered a colorful mix of cultural dances and music, blending the rich heritages of Nigeria and China. The Consulate General of the People's Republic of China in Lagos spoke about how memorable the celebration was and its impact on Nigeria-China relations.
We think that China and Nigeria will family, and especially with so many Chinese community, they not only support the local business or social development, but also do the charity events.
Government officials and guests also reflected on how African leaders can leverage opportunities presented by the Chinese government to foster industrial growth and economic development across the continent.
I'll call the attention of the African presidents or African leaders to look at the deliberation, to look at the implementation of the FOCAP, to look inward how to take advantage of the pledge made by President Xi Jinping to the African countries of about $51 billion, to look inward how to take advantage of that to unbundle the underdevelopment happening in Africa.
We also give them 100,000 for the support. All these things we must appreciate for Nigeria friends. Thank you so much, and God bless Nigeria, God bless China.
The Chinese New Year celebration underscored the importance of cultural exchange and partnership in strengthening bilateral ties.
Operatives of the NDLEA have intercepted a shipment of cannabis concealed in a duvet destined for the UK. Now, the agency spokesperson, Femi Babafemi, revealed Sunday that the consignment, weighing 3.5 kilograms, was seized at Lagos Murtala Mohammed Airport. 2 suspects, Adakole Sunday and Austin Balogun, were arrested. Balogun admitted he was paid 700,000 naira to cargo the shipment. Meanwhile, a raid in Ikorodu uncovered weapons and 7 liters of psychoactive drink called Scoochies. Now, 2 suspects were arrested for that. Another operation in Mushin yielded 47 kilograms of skunk and 25.46 kilograms of nitrous oxide. The NDLEA continues to intensify its crackdown on drug trafficking and abuse nationwide. Away from that, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has filed a lawsuit against President Bola Tinubu's administration and the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, over the recent 50% increase in telecom tariffs. The NCC's approval of the tariff hike raised the cost of 1-minute call from 11 naira to 16 naira 5 kobo, 1 gigabyte of data from 287 naira 5 kobo to 431 naira 25 kobo, and SMS charges from 4 naira to 6 naira. Now, SERAP argues that the hike infringes on citizens' rights to express freedom and access to information as enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution and international treaties. The organization is seeking a court declaration that the tariff hike is unconstitutional and an injunction to halt its implementation. The lawsuit also alleges that the NCC failed to consult key stakeholders, including the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, before implementing the hike. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has honored one of its personnel, Aminu Salisu, an assistant superintendent who was allegedly killed by a suspected internet fraudster on January the 17th, 2025. And the chairman of the EFCC made this known during a ceremony to honor deserving staff of the commission as he renamed the EFCC's training academy after Salisu. He says that the commission will remain undeterred in its fight against financial crimes and warned staff of the EFCC to refrain from actions that will tarnish the image and reputation of the agency.
In spite of the loss of one of our gallant officers, is a morale booster and a source of encouragement to us that we are not going to relent in our fight against financial crimes in Nigeria. So I want to encourage you, and I want to let you know that for every officer who has lost his life in the line of duty, for every officer who has been fatally injured in the line of duty, we are not going to forget them. Before I leave this podium, I'd like to announce, in honor of our gallant officer who has passed on, I'm going to direct that the administrative building of this academy should be named after Aminu Sahabi Salisu.
The 6th Division of the Nigerian Army has dismantled 13 illegal refining sites, recovered 300,000 litres of stolen crude oil, and arrested 15 suspected oil thieves in a week-long operation. Now, Acting Deputy Director of Army Public Relations, Jonah Danjuma, reveals the operation, conducted from January 20 to 26, spanned Rivers, Delta, Edo, and Akwa Ibom states. Troops also deactivated over 150 locally made ovens, intercepted illegal oil tankers, and recovered weapons. General Officer Commanding Major General Emmanuel Emekah praises the troops, warning criminals to abandon their illicit activities or face the consequences. The Nigerian Senate has accused the federal government of double standards in addressing illegal activities, tackling oil bunkering aggressively while being lenient on illegal mining. Senator Adams Oshomole, chair of the Senate Committee on Interior, raised the concern during a budget presentation by Senator Samson Ekong, chair of the Senate Committee on Solid Minerals Development. Oshomole warns that economic diversification will remain elusive without decisive action against illegal mining, blaming influential figures, including retired generals, for complicity. Ekong emphasized the need to increase the ministry's capital budget to $539 billion, 539 billion naira, I beg your pardon, for 2025, calling the initial 9 billion naira allocation grossly inadequate.
Any part of Nigeria where you don't have solid minerals, even in the south. But what I observe, whereas the federal government is ruthless with people who are doing illegal oil bucking, and they deploy JTF to deal with those involved in illegal bucking. When it comes to illegal mining of solid minerals, the federal government changes. It's like using different standards. And I'm very angry about that. Because if we have to fight, deploy army, even to kill for anyone who is involved in illegal bucking of oil, and you deploy JTF, a combination of army, police, air force, everybody, why are we allowing illegal mining in many parts of the country that is going on? And they are being manned by retired generals, and we know them. Yes, we know them. Nobody can predict doesn't know them.
But one of the agencies that quit, if 220 billion is injected into that agency, it can in 10 trillion of this country in 2 years. These are clear harvest. Let me also say that we can use minerals to act as a unifying instrument in this country. When we know that the oil in Bayelsa or Akwa Ibom is bringing in so much for Nigeria, and that from the gold mines in Zamfara, Niger State, Zamfara State, Kaduna, a lot of endowment are being meaningfully harvested for Nigeria. Apart from football, what area, what instrument that can unite Nigeria is very better. I can say this. We know the strength of football as a unifying factor in Nigeria. We can explore the potential that minerals accrue to this country to further unite Nigeria.
Away from that, Nigeria's federal government has commenced efforts to end the reoccurrence of the unfortunate incidences of petrol tanker explosions, which usually leaves behind a trail of death, injuries, and destruction. This was as the nation's National Orientation Agency visited the Lambata community in Niger State to educate citizens on the dangers associated with scooping petrol from accident tankers. Amadine Uyi reports.
The recent tanker explosion in Diko, Niger State, which left many dead as they scooped petrol from a falling tanker, can best be described as a national tragedy. Following a presidential directive to educate citizens on the dangers of such acts and bring to an end the recurring incident, Nigeria's National Orientation Agency has visited Lambata community in the state in a bid to avert the same kind of tragedy and protect the public.
When a tanker has fallen, we can protect the products. We can cordon off the area immediately. So we must put a system in place where we can get information when such things happen immediately, so that we actually do not allow people to go near this issue.
Others in the community expressed their views on the incident.
We should try and warn our children, warn all the people in Nigeria, not even in local government, to stop this type of attitude. Going when there is any fault, the truck fell down, not even the fuel on, any type of truck. So person shouldn't go there for removing something on that vehicle.
My advice is when there are incidents like this, people should not always look at what they stand to gain, but to first of all look at the unfortunate incident that has taken place, the person who has lost money or something. That should be the concern of the community.
There is no thing like total ignorance, because ordinarily you should know as a woman that the dangers that comes with going near a fire, not even an explosion.
Quick money, quick trouble. Kana neman kuɗi zafin nima wallahi yana kawo halaka. Shi ne yasa kuma ƴan uwanmu da suka gabace mu suka halaka. A wurin nan akwai wani da ya samu so ɗaya. Duk kwanin da muka gani muna ganin na gwamnati ne banza, bari a ci shi. Wallahi an kai hakuri abinda baka zato ba za ka same shi. Amma kai hanzari shi ne yake kawo wannan.
The NOA says that its campaign to prevent tanker explosions, which usually leads to the death of citizens, has commenced across the 774 local government areas of the country. In Niger State for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Coming up after the break. Fighting near DR Congo's Goma region intensifies amid diplomatic fallout. This and more coming shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, heavy clashes between Congolese forces and Rwandan-backed M23 fighters in eastern DRC edged closer to Goma on Sunday as the UN Security Council scheduled an emergency meeting. Amid escalating violence, both the DRC and Rwanda withdrew their diplomats, further straining relations. Fighting in the resource-rich North and South Kivu provinces has displaced thousands, with M23 rebels advancing since peace talks collapsed in December. Witnesses in Goma, a city of over 1 million, reported heavy explosions and Congolese combat helicopters overhead. Businesses remain closed as displaced residents pour into the city, intensifying the humanitarian crisis.
Hali ya huku mazingira kabisa iko mzuri, depuis usiku yote masasi na mabombe zililala zinapiga bwana, tunateseka sana. Bwana, leo usubuhi angalia gisi watu wote biko wanakimbia, uone gisi tunateseka baba, watu biko wanakimbia. Kwanza sie wengine tushakosa ka tutakimbilia pichu, tulianza kimbia depuis zamani. Sie wengine tuko watu wa makiwanja, wa maruchuru, wa kibumba, tulishaka kimbia. kisha tena kwa leo tena na leo tena vita tena natukuta na huku tuko tuku majama. Sasa tunakosa kama tukimbilie. Baba mie hata biharibike siwezi kimbia tena, yenye nilishaka kimbia mie inatosha. Junda kimbilia wapi? Hakuna tena kwa tutakimbilia. Tulitokaka kule kuma village yetu tunakimbilia huku Mgoma, na huku Mgoma nako watu wanaanza kimbia. Sasa tena tutakimbilia wapi? Njia zote zinafungiwa. Kwa tulikuwa tunazania tunaanza kimbilia, tunaanza vuka hata maina kule kumai nako njoo sasa nako jaribu.
Sudan's Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan on Sunday visited the General Command headquarters in Khartoum, which had been recaptured after a nearly 2-year siege by paramilitary forces. Burhan declared the Army's forces in their best condition after reclaiming this critical location, marking a significant victory in the capital. The recapture of the General Command comes after months of intense conflict, during which the Army had to rely on airdrops to supply its forces trapped inside the building. In a statement, the Army announced the merger of troops from Khartoum North and Omdurman, further strengthening their position. Now, an attack on the Saudi hospital in El Fasher, a besieged town in Western Sudan, has left 70 people dead and 19 others wounded, according to the World Health Organization. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus condemned the attack, which occurred while the hospital was filled with patients receiving care. Now, Saudi Arabia also condemned the assault as the violation of international law, calling for the protection of medical workers and civilians. Since the war erupted in April 2023 between Sudan's army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, Darfur has been particularly hard hit, with El Fasher under siege since May. The ongoing conflict has triggered a severe humanitarian crisis, displacing millions and causing widespread famine. The Democratic Alliance leader has publicly criticized the African National Congress, ANC, their largest coalition partner in South Africa's government of national unity. Now, the DA feels the ANC failed to consult them properly on crucial bills, including health reform and land expropriation. The DA leader emphasized that if their ideas and solutions continue to be dismissed, they will be forced to reassess their position within the coalition. This development highlights the growing tensions between the DA and ANC, which could potentially impact the stability of the government. Now, the land expropriation bill, in particular, has been a contentious issue, with the DA opposing the ANC's proposal to amend the constitution to allow for land expropriation without compensation.
Recent weeks have made it increasingly clear that the ANC has lost interest in honoring its side of our relationship and statement of intent. Unfortunately, the ANC has taken to openly disrespecting coalition partners and undermining the very trust upon which a coalition agreement is built. If the reset is not possible and we remain unable to be able to play our part in the growth and jobs agenda, if our ideas, if our solutions are merely waved away with the hand of the National Democratic Revolution, then we too will have to reconsider our options and how to best serve South Africa in this situation. This bill will not stand, and we will not stand to watch this type of legislation being passed, not on our watch and not while we are part of government. And whatever mechanisms we have, both legal and political, to resolve this situation, we will do so.
Now, to discuss this, we're joined by Gabriel Kraus, a political analyst. Thank you so much for joining us on the news, Gabriel.
Greetings. Thank you.
Gabriel, how significant are the tensions between the DA and the ANC, and what impact will this have on the stability of South Africa's government of national unity? Hello, Gabriel.
basically the ANC and DA have very different pictures of how to take the country forward when it comes to one of the key rights enshrined in the Constitution, which is the right to own property. On the DA side, you have a very traditional position, the same as in Japan or Korea.
Hello, Gabriel.
If it pays compensation. That's the DA's position. That's, I think, what the Constitution also guarantees. But what the ANC has done is that they have signed a law, which, well, President Ramaphosa, who is from the ANC, has signed a law which says that the government can take people's land without compensation. And the kind of situation that the law spells out is, for example, if that land is not currently being used. Someone is moved abroad and they're figuring out what to do with it, or they bought it and they want to sell it at a profit in some time. If it's vacant and the purpose is to sell it for a profit, then it can be taken for no compensation. So it's a big clash between the two parties. For now, they're looking to stay together, but there is a dispute that has been launched in terms of their coalition agreement, and we'll have to see how that plays out. I do think that this might be the beginning of the end of this coalition, although it could take some time to unwind.
Are you speaking of, if the land expropriation bill passes, are you speaking about that? Will that be the end of the coalition of national unity?
No, to be clear, the bill has passed. It is now an act of law signed by the president last week. The thing that will take some time is to see how this dispute is handled. One of the aspects is that the DA and others, including an organization I run called IRO Legal, are looking to challenge the act in court. And at the outset, those challenges are going to be called facial challenges. So you just say, look, the law, if you read it, it's not good. But I think the challenges that will be the most important possibly will be case-by-case challenges. So although the bill has become a law, you're quite right that it hasn't yet really been implemented. There's no one who has had their home or business taken away without compensation yet. When that happens, the moment that actual property is taken without compensation, I think that the coalition will fall apart. And what the DA has said is that because their minister currently sits in the position to oversee that process, they want to stay in power to try and make sure it doesn't happen. But they don't have full control. The bill allows for expropriating authorities, including municipalities. Local governments can try and trigger expropriation without compensation. And I think depending on how that plays out, when the first people are actually taken off their land, I think that will be the end of the end.
While they have, decided to stay in power, are there steps that the ANC can take to improve collaboration with the DA and other coalition partners to prevent further political fallout?
I think so. One of the allegations that the DA made is that their minister wrote to President Ramaphosa of the ANC saying, we're very worried about this bill. We believe that parts of it are unconstitutional. And he wrote back saying, I checked it out. I think it's okay. And then suddenly the next day, basically, he signed the thing without warning them that he was going to do so. And what's worse, the allegation is that the information was leaked to people in the department, but not to the minister, somewhat rubbing his nose in it. So I think if the ANC wants to improve the relationship, they need to address those allegations. If they're true, what the ANC needs to do is change its partnership and go from doing things behind people's backs to playing with an open set of cards and saying, look, if we're going to do something, we'll give you advance warning that we're going to do it. We will allow meetings between the president and the various ministers to discuss this. We'll ventilate the issues. You know, this is a democracy, and the way things are supposed to work in a coalition, and there are many international examples, is that you find compromise by talking about it openly and sincerely. And those conversations can be tough.
Okay.
But it's better to have those conversations than to go around partners' backs and spring them with surprises.
Absolutely, Gabriel. Well, thank you so much for your time and for speaking to us on this.
Thank you for having me.
We take a break now. When we come back, the news continues. Stay with us. Now on World Wrap, the U.S. under President Donald Trump has paused funding for the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief, PEPFAR, raising concerns for global HIV/AIDS efforts. Since 2003, PEPFAR has contributed over $85 billion to combat the disease, saving millions of lives in more than 50 countries, including Nigeria, which received over $6 billion. However, recent funding cuts have sparked fears about Nigeria's ability to sustain its progress. A source at the Institute of Human Virology, Nigeria, pointed out that the Nigerian government has not fully taken over HIV and malaria programs, leading to reduced American assistance. This funding freeze would affect both new and ongoing initiatives, threaten the health of over 1 million Nigerians who rely on PEPFAR for life-saving treatment. Experts warn the situation could worsen without renewed support. Now, in the world of sports, Heartland FC have bolstered their squad with 9 new signings ahead of the second half of the 2024-2025 Nigeria Premier Football League season. The club aims to improve on their performance and avoid relegation threats. Key signings include Anthony Omaka from Asvo FC and winger Daniel Ekbo, who joins from Abia Warriors. Other new arrivals are John Bassi, Bayelsa United, Kenneth Ache, Heartland Feeders, Stephen Ezeamawe, Bendel Insurance, Isaac Nasi, Doma United, Samuel Agu, Akwa United, Tedo Shimangande, Nasarawa United, and Joel Okoro, Nasarawa United. Technical manager Emmanuel Emekah expressed confidence in the new players, hoping they will enhance the team's performance as they begin the second round with a home match against Lobby Stars. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. You heard that President Bola Tinubu departs Abuja for Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, to participate in the Africa Heads of State Energy Summit 2025. You also heard that Nigerian Army cracks down on oil thieves in Niger Delta. We also told you that fighting near DR Congo's Goma region intensifies amid diplomatic fallout. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.